What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, I host the only online conversation in the world for dads and fathers that is co-sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And we're broadcasting live on April 5th. And it's another new thing for the Dr. Vibe show. I had this wonderful gentleman on last week, and it was a long time wanting and a long time waiting. And after we went live, we said, you know what? He said, why don't we do this I said, why don't we do this on a regular basis? Like we do a monthly chat. I was up for it. He was up for it. So going forward, at least for the next little while, every Tuesday, first Tuesday of the month, we're going to have this young gentleman on. Sid McNairy, Art of Peaceful Living, is in the house. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
Outstanding, man. What's been going on since last week? Man, that's like, yeah, like we chat with each other once in a while, once in a while we hang out.
Yeah, it's been eventful. We had the book launch on Saturday. That was incredible, and it turned out to be a prelim for our TV show, Conversations with Sid. And
Oh,
so that's now going to be happening live every 2 months to do talk show and have people in and ask questions. And so it just the space opened up and spoke for itself. Like, all right, here's how you do it, here's how you lay it out. And so absolutely incredible. And to be, we just finished, and the cover of QK magazine will be releasing on Thursday. I really am trying to just keep surfing through it all because we.
by the way, how was your one of our 13, Ayana? Hello, Ayana. How you doing? How you doing? Speaking about surfing, how did the surfing go?
Well, it's my first day back in 6 months. What was great about it was we were supposed to have a storm, so I was pumped to be able to say, okay, how quickly can I get back with the storm blowing in? And then the storm blew through too quick. So really, it was such low waves. It was easy, and it was just a matter of being able to paddle out, smile at Liz, and paddle back in when we were ready. And so it was easy. But I look forward to actually having a little more challenging set to work with.
How did it feel to be going back at it?
I mean, I thought I might be nervous because it's my eyes, the first time they're experiencing the ocean again. The difference, I used to always swim with my eyes open. So some
Wow.
people, I've never swam with my eyes closed. This was the first time that way. Yet, I mean, it didn't bother me. I just know I'd much rather swim with my eyes open.
Cool, 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 cool. Fantastic. I want to say hi to Kathy Hattenbach, Mary Beth Mayer. Maybe you know what that means. I don't know, but I'm just putting it on the screen. You got so many people around the world. I just let them flow. I let them flow, man. I let them flow. Talk about the book launch. How did that go?
Oh, it was really, absolutely incredible. I have this new manager, Ardra, and she's a boss, like 100% on point. And so at first I was like, yeah, this is how I want to set up the table. And she was like, that looks terrible.
Ooh,
and
okay.
and I was like, wait a minute. And she was like, oh, you don't like the way I said that? I said, no, just go ahead and do what you do. And then when she did it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave and I'll just be back when it's time for me to be here. So it was great because I actually, Liz didn't have to do it. To be able to know that someone is powerful and taking care of things just freed me up. So that level of freedom gave me the space to just command the moment, and I loved it. Loved it. felt better at the end for sure.
And tell people the title of the book again, please.
It's The Secret Weapon. It's the one in the middle. The Secret Weapon, Win at Everything. You can get it on Amazon. Yeah, it's exciting. She made me take 2 days off. Now, I didn't really take the 2 days off. I mean, I kind of took them off.
Man, that must be a boss lady, because when you just say I kinda, not like kinda, that's a boss lady.
Right, right. So the great thing about it was that because of that, I got a chance to pause and say, okay, what have I accomplished? Because she's like, you're so accomplished. It's amazing. You got to celebrate that. And so I've written 5 books in 13 years, you know, and I had never thought about that. It was like, oh yeah, I've written all these books. And in my head, I'm like, I've written 5 books. That's an average of 10 years a book. Yeah, but in 13 years is when I wrote them. You know, that first 38 years, there were no books happening. So to be able to pause and say, okay, this is what I'm up to. This is what's happening. It's been pretty special that way.
Well, fantastic. Congratulations on the book launch. I know it's going to be another big win. And we ahead of time decided, well, Sid and I got together and decided, hey, what are we going to chat about this first one out of the box? And we thought a good conversation topic would be like leadership in your business, home, team, and life. And Sid, you've been blessed to lead different people in different arenas, from sports to yoga to business. Where did you feel you, or where did you feel you got the wisdom to
Hmm.
be a leader? Where did
Well,
that come inside from you?
well, I think the first is I had example of leadership from my parents, like not just leading our house, but out in public. You know, my dad. I can remember going to see speeches of my dad giving talks in front of thousands of people at a young age of, gosh, I think the first time I saw him I was probably 5 or 6. And so I got to see that, or my mom leading classrooms and them being able to speak in front of people. So it was a natural feeling to me that this is what I'm meant to do. Like, this is what my parents do. I'm supposed to be like my parents. And then from age, I guess I was 9, from 9 years old on, every year, and maybe skipped a year every a couple times, but I was always sent away to leadership camps and leadership deals. You know, whether it was a government situation of, okay, who's those kids? Because back when I was in elementary school, we had targeted programs where the teacher nominated somebody and they took you away like it was Hogwarts, you know, and you were meant to go study these things. So that I really, people talk about, oh, you were such a born leader. And no, actually, I was born a baby, you know, and from there, I had to learn to lead, you know, and so I was always put in those situations. And fortunately, I had a lot of victories, you know, like victories in sports, 454 wins and under 100 losses in my career as a athlete, coach, and all those things. And so that level of victories just gave me the confidence to lead. You know, I think that's part of it is being in situations that create the confidence, or you could be in situations that create the confidence even if you aren't winning, because it might be like, all right, now that I've lost so much, I know how to win. So I think those things created the space for me to have the wisdom to lead for sure.
Where did the lead, as far back as you can remember, where did the leadership journey start?
I'd have to say back when I was playing soccer at 7 years old, my first time being in a sport, that would be the first time I really took on leadership in that way. Because it was like, okay, I'm playing this sport. I'm scoring goals. Sid, you're the captain this week. Sid, you're the captain again. Sid, you're the captain. Sid, you're still the captain. And then so that space being put athletically for me, that level of leadership happens. I think another one would be, gosh, before we even moved away from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I was the Prince of Mardi Gras. And so, I mean, I'm just, as I'm talking, I'm remembering different moments, but that was a big one to be in the Mardi Gras parade in New Orleans. And they've got the King of Mardi Gras. He's sitting on the stage in his throne. And then here's little Sid sitting there as the Prince of Mardi Gras. So I think really it comes back to what my parents had been doing. I remember there's a card my parents have from someone when I was born that said, sorry we weren't there yet for the first week. Welcome to the new king. So even if they weren't saying, even if they were joking, that's why I'm not one to make jokes, because fortunately that if that was a joke written down on paper, the pen is mightier than the sword, and it's read, and now it's in my baby book. I can go back and I can read it, and I've read it since then. Now that I can read, I couldn't read as a baby. Now I can read. That's ingrained in my psyche of, okay, I'm meant to be the king. I was born the king. I was born the prince. I'm walking in the footsteps of the people before me, and they were kings and queens, and here I am now. So I think that all plays a part of it.
So, from the soccer arena, what was your next exposure to leadership?
From the soccer arena, then the next one, I can remember going to the leadership camp. That was, I mean, we had to do like ropes and things like that. Doing the different. You got to make sure that you get your teammate across the river without the teammate touching the river. And yet everybody else is soaked, but your teammate's hurt. How are you going to do it? So then we learned how to go cut pieces of the tree down and create a what do you call it, a gurney, and put rope and carry that person across and things like that. So I was exposed to those things early, and I think that was the next big step for me. And then even when I was a college football coach, I can remember they wanted to elevate African American minority coaches, and I was taken away to the Miami Dolphins facility as one of the top 50 Black coaches in the country, to say, okay, these are the 50 coaches that we're going to make sure they elevate. So I've always been put in these situations of leadership moments where people just continue to call me forward. And I really can't tell you why, like, other than it was just the way it was supposed to be. It wasn't like, especially as I got older, it's not like they were calling my parents and saying, hey, do you think your kid could lead? For some reason, I think there's an energetic thing that just happens that we call people for.
Excellent. Someone watching on LinkedIn, Ife.
Yeah. What's up, Ife?
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're watching this live, please feel free to give comments, ask questions. Sid will do his absolute best to respond to any comments or questions that you have. Sid, let me ask, your parents set the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
What things did they, in the way they cared about their lives, rubbed off on you when it came to leadership?
I'll say one of the biggest things that I heard a lot in the moments that it would be like, all right, I wasn't one that, I love sports, and some subjects in school weren't my thing. I wasn't it, like history wasn't my wheelhouse to go make sure I was going to be a great historian until I took sports history, and then I learned about all the other histories. And so I remember this statement being average isn't good enough. That
Yep.
if you're, I mean, I think that anyone that's uh, made it as a person, a minority person, especially African American or African, uh, no matter what, you heard, at least I heard that. And so you were only going to make it in life if you were better than everybody else. So I had that thought that I had to just continue to move forward. And that came from my parents, their experience of needing to excel in order to be where they were was passed down. I think that's been passed through many generations to all of us. That I had to. It wasn't something that was optional for me. I remember when I would get grades that maybe I didn't work hard enough in history or English or whatever, and it'd be like, okay, you got a B, you got 85%. Was that your best? And I really wanted to say yes. That's why I got it, but I knew it wasn't. So then even that wasn't good enough. It was like, that's not your best. Then you better raise it up or you're not going to play sports. And it's like,
Right.
well, what about the C that Johnny got and he gets to still play? How come I can't be that person? So now I appreciate it in the sense that it helped me reach where I am today, yet that was definitely different than some of my friends. I mean, I started taking calculus in pre-calc 7th grade, calculus in 8th grade. And so, yeah, like I took so much calculus, they didn't know there was no other level of calculus to take. And I was like, can I just take statistics? No, take calculus.
That's calculus.
Jeez, are you kidding me? Like, come on now. But at the same time, it really shaped me to where I now have the drive no matter what.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, as I asked for questions, and Ife has a question. I was going to ask it later on, but hey, let's do it right now. Ife is asking, what's the most rewarding part of being a leader?
For me, the most rewarding part of being a leader is to help someone else lift higher than I thought they thought they could go, than I thought they could go, and lift somebody else up. That to me is the best part of being a leader, is to especially like being a coach, seeing my players break records, and then the next player comes up and he breaks those records. Like, there was nothing more rewarding as a coach than to see. I remember Justin McCarron as he finished and broke all of Deion Mitchell's. I almost said Deion Sanders. Deion Mitchell's records when Deion had gone to the Cowboys. And I think the biggest one was after he returned a kick and he ran out of his shoes. Like, literally, he was running so fast, both his shoes came off. And we were just celebrating because he had played a game that really he only had one mistake. And that was, he missed a block. And it was like, we reached for that perfection. So to help someone else reach that level of success has definitely been the biggest reward as a leader to me. To see someone else make it when they didn't know they could make it, that's awesome.
You and I have a few things in common. One of them is our involvement at the coaching level in sports. And one of the things I always say to people in sports is that what you encounter and learn in sports is applicable in real life. So, two-part question. What aspects of leadership have you developed and learned through your journey in sports? And how does it apply to you in business, home, team, and life?
Well, I will say that something I learned early, because I started meditating with my soccer coach at 8. So what I learned from that was how to move from a place of stillness inside and how that would speed me up in anything. So whenever I've reached challenges, that space to slow down in order to speed up has been rewarding on all levels. Like people, I've practiced that so much that people don't even see me slow down. So that has been one of the biggest things that has transpired, and that the flow state of being able to be so disciplined and work so hard in sports, so that when I begin to get into action, there's no thought. It just moves with the spirit of things. And that happens for me when I write all these books.
Yeah.
I can, because I've done it so much, now I have a method that I can say, okay, I have the method to get into that flow state and write books, or that flow state when I'm another one that it happens more on a business level is when I'm talking to someone, I'm like, okay, let's go in a place of something we don't know. If we have a problem, if we really have a problem, if I had the solution, I wouldn't be thinking about this, right? So how do I get to something different than where I've been before? And because of what I've learned in sports, I know how to let go and let something new open up. And that's so rewarding. I was talking to someone just a couple days ago, or actually yesterday, and we were talking about, he's like, all right, so I think, what can we do together? And I was like, well, I want to do something together, but let's not do anything either one of us have done before. And then we just started talking about my movie. Next thing you know, boom, here comes this new idea that I didn't even think about for my movie. And he's not in movies. It just happened. It weaved the whole thing together. So that level of moving into a place of freedom from thought in sports has transferred into my freedom to see new horizons for anybody's business, mine or someone else's. And I definitely appreciate how that has evolved for me.
Nice, nice. Since if I asked about, what's most rewarding part of being a leader, has leadership ever been challenging for you?
Yes. And I'll say it kind of goes like this. In the beginning, I learned to be me, as in many ways, because of fear of not being successful, like I just talked about. If you're average, you're not going to make it. So there was that fear of being average, which propelled me, but kept a lid on being extraordinary in many ways. So when it came to leadership, when that first came in for me, and it was getting hired as a football coach, at that time every university was told they needed to move towards having at least 2 minorities on their staff. So initially I was in a place that was like, all right, I don't feel like everybody believes I'm good enough because I'm just hired because I'm Black. And
Mm,
and so that level, so then I became a leader that I was going to be the best in the room no matter what, even if that meant I was going to be a jerk about it. And so that was really tough for me to get over myself and not put off all the things that I had gone through to be where I was on everybody else,
Sid, let me just interrupt.
Yeah.
Can you reflect on what was that process to get over yourself like, and how did you do it?
Well, I mean, you burn enough bridges, you piss enough people off. At some point, even in the marriages I've had and relationships, I had to say, all right, do I want to keep being miserable in my life? You know, and if I'm miserable right now, whose fault is that? It can't be, fortunately for me, I had a lot of relationships. I had different coaching things, and not that everybody was pissed off at me or that I burnt all the bridges. Yet, when I finally got to a point of recognizing I'm the common denominator, I'm the only person that has been in every relationship I've ever had. And so, why aren't they successful? Let me look at myself. You know, what makes it not successful with this person? Now, that doesn't mean that this person wasn't a jerk. You know, it does. Yet, just because someone is a jerk doesn't mean my relationship with them has to be terrible. I can stand my ground. I can do that peacefully. I can have compassion for what they've probably gone through. So, learning how to see me, I had to look in like that. I often say this: when one finger points out, there's three more pointing back at me. So if I'm pointing the finger at somebody, there's three reasons that I need to look at as to why I need to point the finger at them. So those things were big for me to really say, okay, I'm going to take accountability for my life, clear it all up, and then transform to where I want to go. You know, and we talk about it a lot, the act, getting clear on the act and stop acting and get real about things.
Good. Um, Let me ask you, who are some of the leaders that have influenced you along your journey? You mentioned your parents. I think you may have mentioned one of your like your parents. Who are some of those leaders that influenced you, and what and how did they influence you?
Well, every coach I ever had, and that's what I loved about my journey through sports. Every coach I had at least wanted to win. Now, fortunately, I was blessed with parents that picked my coaches, people that they allowed to influence me growing up. So not only did they want to win, but they wanted to win and make me a better person. Uh,
Mm.
so those people, I mean, I can remember my whole career as a college football coach, my high school coach, every time I went to the national coaches convention, hey Sydney, when are we gonna get breakfast, young fella? Like he would say that every year, and we would go to breakfast, and he would just talk to me about, all right, how's life? How's your family? How are these things going? What are you doing with your life? And he kept his love for me in that way was huge, and he loved every one of his players like that. So he taught me to love like that for my players. He helped me along the way. So he was big in my life. You know, a lot of people couldn't even get it. All right, well, how is Sid always meeting with his high school coach all these years later at the coaching convention? So for some reason, I was blessed to have people that were always around. Uh, you know, even when maybe it wouldn't have been like that for other people. The coach that coached me when I was 8 years old, I played soccer games for him when I was 26. Yeah,
Oh,
like that was the way it was. Huge that way to be able to say these people are invested into making me my greatest self. So then there were a couple people that I watched, coaches like Phil Jackson was a big one. He had the book Sacred Hoops, and when I read his book, I was just like, really, I don't have to bring in religion the way it's normally done. I can bring all of this stuff that's in my spirit into the room as a coach and as a leader. So I did that, and I still do that today. Like I'm okay. Let's chop it up. Let's talk about the fact that you, whoever that person is I may be talking to, where are you out of alignment from the spirit of all things? I've also seen Bill Walsh was another one. I love that he had all his players called him Bill because he was like, the title coach doesn't mean you have to respect me. I'll earn your respect no matter what you call me. So that was another big pivotal moment in my coaching career and development as a leader. Just because I'm the leader doesn't mean you have to respect me. You respect who I am because it's who I am. So that was big. And two major influences as coaches that may not be well known out there. Bob Spoo, he was the head coach at Eastern Illinois, and was just such a good person, and was so kind that he made me a better person. He helped me see how I could be a good person in that way, and see myself that way. And then Joe Novak spent a lot of time. I remember when he first interviewed me, he said, is there anything you want to, any questions you have at the end of the interview? And I was like, well, I want to draw X's and O's. And he was like, you don't need to do that. I just needed to know you were a good person. If you don't know how to coach, I'll teach you to coach, but I can't make you a good person. So I've used that when it came to hiring people often. Yeah. So those many, many, many people have influenced who I am today.
What do you feel the qualities of a good leader?
The qualities of a good leader, I'd say, well, one is being able to help people where they are, so almost being agile, agile in the sense that someone can see someone and use different tools to help that person be their best. Another big one is they need to be worthy to be followed. Like you can be a leader. There's some leaders out there that have done things in the world, and then the world's in a worse place. I'm not even going to use names because I don't want to even conjure them back into the world that way, But to be worthy to be followed, and to be okay seeing where maybe you've missed the mark and redirecting. There's nothing wrong with missing the mark. That's how we learn that there is a mark to hit in the first place. So I think that's being able to forgive yourself and keep going. And then courageousness. You got to be courageous to be a leader, because people are watching leaders, and we kill our leaders in the world. It really happens like that. Martin Luther King, JFK, Abraham Lincoln, Jesus. We can go on and on and on where they killed the people leading. And that's because they step outside of the box. And a lot of people are scared of people that step outside of what they see as normal.
So do you think also a good leader also has discipline?
Oh, definitely. I just took that one as a definite.
Okay. No problem. No problem. Can leadership be lonely?
Yes, because of the way it's been structured, at least around myself. People, it's like being the peace guy. People will challenge your peace, like, oh, let me do this. And see if you still have peace. Or what do you mean you're the leader? Well, what if I do this? Yeah, it can be for me, there's been this space that I've had to grow myself in order to be able to stand with someone and lead them at the same time. Like that's a huge awareness for myself to step into. But yeah, it can definitely be lonely to move through that space.
You do a lot of leadership in different areas. Are the core values of your leadership displayed in each one of those areas, like in sports, in yoga, or do you have to adjust your leadership style in the different arenas that you are exposed to? You're smiling, so you like that question. Good stuff.
Yeah, I'm Sid wherever I go. It used to be I was a lot harder when I was younger leading as a coach. People were older than I was, so I thought I had to bark in order to get them to go. And then my players would come to my house and be like, hey man, you're the same with your kids like you are with us on the field. And I'd be like, I'm Sid, wherever I go, like that's it. So now what I learned was that that didn't always work. You know, when people didn't want to be around you after they got where they needed to go, it was like, all right, I'd rather keep people in my life. So then I had to just adjust, but that meant I adjust across the board everywhere I went, you know. So I'm just Sid wherever I go. If it doesn't work, I'll shift. It's just been working lately. So I'm not shifting anytime soon.
Has the has leadership changed in your journey?
Yeah, definitely.
For the good or the not good or neutral?
I mean, I'd say it's definitely shifted for the good. Uh, One way that I know it's for the good is when I'm leading and I have to, you know, help someone navigate through a different way. I don't walk away with pain in my body. I don't have to. I haven't drank alcohol in 16 years. I used to have to come home and drink so that I could go to sleep. So yeah, it's shifted, but it has shifted because I have shifted myself.
Right.
And 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 it's been more. It used to be a lot about, all right, I'm doing this because this is how I'm gonna look good. You know, if if we win, I look good. If we lose, I look bad. And now it's like, all right, we're gonna win, and I'm gonna help you, the person I'm working with, win. And then when you win, we all win. So that it's definitely navigated differently. Yet I'm still as competitive as anybody you may ever meet. Uh, I'm competitive about everything. I want to win, and that looks like helping those that are in my life win too.
Love it. Love it. Uh, is leadership in business and yoga and sports any different than leadership at home for you?
Well, no. Uh, the the difference at home is I know 100% that with Liz, she's going for it as much as I'm going for it. Sometimes you know, fortunately, I've been working with people that reflect that drive, so I don't have to talk about having the drive anymore. You know, people are coming with their own drive, so then we work together easy, and it's just like, all right, I'm just in a role that says I'm driving this ship like this. And if we all do our roles, we'll all step up into our next place. So, and at home, it's not quite the same in that sense because we're always moving this thing forward together. So leadership for me in our home just looks like being the support for Liz. Like, all right, and I'd love for her to continue to step into more leadership. My friend, before he passed, he was like, hey man, you need to learn to work less and make more. I've been trying to work less every day since that.
uh, Question in regards, another question in regards to leadership. What do you feel, especially with young people, they need to know about if they want to become a leader, especially young people?
Well, I think it's not even a want to, it's automatic. Like you can pretty much see it on the playground. The kid that picks the team for tag, the it's already, I remember those moments like, all right, we're playing kickball. All right,
Right.
I want this person on my team. Like it wasn't even pick teams. It was like Johnny's on my team. Me and
Right
Johnny
on.
roll together. I'm grabbing the people that I want because I automatically wanted to say, this is my team. I think that is somewhat innate early in children. If we sit back and watch them on the playground, we could see the dynamics of where they actually fit. Now there may be one or two, I can't remember the guy's name that wrote the book. I think it's Malcolm. Outliers. There's always an outlier.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Yes, there's always an outlier to the system, but the system is really running. And then sometimes there's people outside of the system. Those are the ones I love to try to find. Those were the ones when I was coaching football. There was like PJ Fleck, Justin McCarron, Daryl Hill. These people that were somewhat overlooked, and it was like, nah, they may have been overlooked, but those people just couldn't see the star that was being born. So I like to find people like that it's like, okay, that person has, as my friend Steven says, there's a 10 in them. Now let's go celebrate their 10 and push that 10 up in a way that their 10 goes up, and then even their 7s become 10s.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Is there any area of leadership that you'd like to improve?
Yes. Do I know what it is? Not all the time.
Well, what's one of them some of the time?
Well, my ability to go and let go. Like, I'm typically all in all the time.
Right.
And so, and that can create burnout. So I've learned to say, okay, all right, Liz wants to go on vacation. I mean, I didn't take vacations till like 2 years ago.
Wow.
Like literally, I would schedule a vacation around the teacher training. Like, I'm going to do teacher training and I'm going to take my kids to the beach. So this year in Connecticut, we're going to start teacher training at 5 a.m. We'll be done by 2:30 so that I can go spend the rest of daylight with my children on vacation. But they would sleep anyway. So for them, that was vacation. For me, it was like, nah, I'm here working and we're going to work and I'm going to get it done and blah, blah, blah. But that level of drive, though, has created a lot in my life. Now, I had to go through burnout to recognize, all right, wait a minute, slow down. We can recover and keep going. So I'd have to say that's probably, and I'm gotten much better at it. I mean, I still am that way. Like, I go take a walk on the beach almost daily. I made my life my vacation. And now as I go take that walk on the beach, I'm still on Clubhouse or I'm making my business calls.
So yes, I hear them. I hear them.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely it, is to continue to create that space of rest.
Where do you feel your strengths are when it comes to leadership?
My love for winning is definitely a strength. It's such a strength that what has evolved in that space, though, is I can handle the we'll call it a loss. I don't even like to say that word. But definitely I can handle the missteps and recalibrate quickly and keep going. That's what's evolved for me. Yet I love to win. Laughing is winning to me now.
Yes.
So
yes.
That I used to be so serious about wins and losses, man. It would be miserable. It'd be like, hey, get away from me because we just took an L. And unfortunately, I learned in these teams that we took over that we were losing big for a couple years. It was like, all right, I got to stop being so miserable because I'm not sure we're ever going to stop losing. So, I mean, what am I going to do about that? So that space has really been big to just be happy about life, regardless of the wins. That becomes a win.
Yeah.
When I can be okay with the loss, but still striving for the victory. That's the win to me, for sure.
Well, as we wind it down, any final words you want to talk about in regards to leadership before we let you go win somewhere else?
I'd have to say, I love helping other people win. Like this right here, sitting on my desk. When I go work with a team, it's in my contract that when we win, I get a ring. So I love helping people win. I love these little types of trophies that sit on my desk and things like that. Yeah, I was born to win. We all were. Like, none of us were born to lose. Now go make the wins happen
There
and
you
help
go.
somebody else along the way.
Wonderful. Well, Sid, thanks for starting our new journey. This is
Yeah.
fantastic. And thank you for taking the time to share with us today. One of our 13 family says, yes, work less. Hyena works very, very hard. So she gave the hand clap about working less. We agree with you. Work smarter, not harder. Big time.
Right. Right.
Big time. So if you want to find out more about Sid, there's the contact information, website, Instagram, Facebook, and on Clubhouse, where you'll find him more often than any place.
Mm.
It's the Art of Peaceful Living. Go check that out. Also, we want to just share the book that you need to buy that they just did their launch. I saw the pictures. Very nice, by the way. Had some very nice pictures. So we're going to just show it here right now. There it is, The Secret Weapon. And if you go to the website, it'll take you right there, find out some information, and we'd like you to buy it too.
Right on.
So, family, Sid again, thank you so much for taking the time to share with us. Any final words you'd like to share with the family today?
Yeah, we're doing this special event that's really just got launched over in Newport Beach, California. Leadership conference, leadership roundtable symposium. It's happening June 14th through the 16th. You can go to the website, click on events, get signed up. There's an early bird special that's happening right now. So you probably want to jump in that while you can. And yeah, it'll save you a lot and you're going to be moved beyond belief. So let's go do that. Get a win today.
Excellent. Follow him wherever you can on any of the platforms. Of course, you can watch replays of my show, The Dr. Vibe Show, all the different epic conversations that I have on Facebook, YouTube. Certainly subscribe to the Facebook or YouTube page. Appreciate that. As always, I end off my conversations like this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And remember to give yourselves grace. And remember, it's important to manage your time, but it's more important to manage your energy. You'll see us first Tuesday every month, but you'll see us everywhere else too. God bless, peace, well, keep the faith, and walk good. Thanks for watching live on the replay.